All right, welcome back, everyone, for episode 2.
Glad to be back.
Today, we're going deep into the world of yoga,
Okay.
but with a twist.
A twist. What do you mean?
Well, we're focusing on yoga's mental health benefits. I think a lot of people think of yoga as just like a physical thing.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people think that.
But today, we're going to see how it goes way beyond that.
Yeah,
How it can help with stress, anxiety, maybe even sleep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're looking at this article from 103 Cordova.
Okay.
It's called The Power of Yoga on Mental Health, a holistic approach.
Interesting. So kind of looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, the whole picture.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in.
All right, let's do it.
I'm curious, what is it about this holistic approach that makes it so effective for mental health?
Well, yoga is really all about this mind-body connection.
Yeah.
And it recognizes that they're deeply connected, right?
Right.
What we think and feel, it totally affects our physical state and the other way around, too.
Oh, interesting. So it's like this feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly like a feedback loop. You know what happens in one, it impacts the other.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And this is super important when we're talking about mental well-being.
Right.
So, for example, even simple poses,
Okay.
like child's pose or savasana,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
they can actually physically reduce tension and calm your nervous system down
Wow. Just by holding a pose.
just by holding a pose.
That's amazing. So you're telling me that I could actually calm my nerves down just by doing yoga?
It's incredible, right? It's like having these tangible tools to actually regulate your internal state.
Wow.
And it's not just about feeling good in the moment. These benefits actually carry over
Right.
into your daily life, and they help you cope with challenges better.
That's huge. Speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
stress is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody deals with stress these days.
Absolutely.
Does the article talk about how yoga can help with that?
Totally. So one of the big things it talks about is how yoga poses, especially when you combine them with deep breathing, can lower cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone.
Oh, so it's like a natural stress reliever.
Exactly. You can think of it like that. Imagine you're super overwhelmed and stressed out,
Yeah.
and you have this technique that you can use just with your breath
Oh, wow.
to calm your body down. That's pretty powerful.
And that's what I call a deep dive. I've always thought about anxiety and depression and things like that. I've always thought about medication
Right.
as the way to go.
Yeah.
But does this article mention anything about yoga and how it relates to those conditions?
It does. And while medication can definitely be helpful,
All right.
yoga can be a really natural and supportive approach as well.
Okay.
In fact, it specifically recommends restorative yoga and yin yoga.
Oh, what are those?
They're particular styles of yoga that can be really helpful for managing those conditions.
Okay.
And they're kind of known for being gentler forms of yoga.
Oh, okay. So how do they work?
So restorative yoga uses props like blankets and bolsters
Okay.
to support your body in these passive poses,
Mhm.
and this can help induce deep relaxation.
I see.
And yin yoga, that focuses on holding poses for longer,
Wow.
like several minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And that targets the deeper connective tissues.
Interesting.
And both of these styles really encourage slowing down,
Yeah.
which can be so helpful to calm your thoughts down.
That makes sense. Like giving your mind a break.
Exactly, giving your mind a break from all the noise and chaos.
Yeah.
And that can create a sense of peace.
Yeah. It's like hitting the pause button for your mind.
Exactly, it is. And it makes it so much easier to deal with those overwhelming emotions,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that reminds me of all this stuff about mindfulness that's so popular now.
Mm-hmm.
Does the article talk about that at all? Like yoga and mindfulness?
It does, yeah. Mindfulness is a big part of yoga. It's right at the core.
Okay.
And the article talks about how good it is for mental health. It's all about being present in the moment, without judging anything.
Okay.
So in yoga, we do that by focusing on our breath or what we feel in our body and just noticing the feelings that come up as we practice.
I see. So instead of thinking about a million things I have to do,
Right.
I'm just focusing on the pose and my breath.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you practice being mindful, the better you get at just observing your thoughts and feelings
Okay.
without letting them take over,
Yeah. So it's like a skill you can develop.
It is. It's like building a muscle, but for your mind.
That's so cool. And I bet it's really helpful because it's so easy to get overwhelmed these days
Oh, totally.
with everything going on.
Absolutely.
So I'm starting to see how these practices that seem so simple can actually make a big difference.
It is fascinating, isn't it? And one of the most powerful tools we have for mindfulness in yoga is pranayama.
Pranayama, that's the breathing stuff.
Yes, it's all about the breath.
I have to admit, it always sounded a bit intimidating to me.
I know, it sounds kind of complicated, but it's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
Pranayama is basically just controlling your breath.
Oh,
We
yeah.
use different techniques to like regulate it,
Mm-hmm.
and that can have a huge impact on how we feel, both mentally and physically.
So it's more than just taking a few deep breaths then.
Yeah, it's much more nuanced than that. There are all kinds of pranayama techniques, and they each do different things. Like the article talks about alternate nostril breathing.
Alternate nostril breathing. What's
Yep. So you breathe through one nostril at a time, and you switch back and forth.
Okay.
And that's supposed to help balance your energy.
Wow, I had no idea. There were so many different ways to breathe.
There are so many.
But it makes sense, though. I mean, when I'm stressed, I definitely notice that my breathing changes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It gets all shallow and fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So if I could learn to control that, it makes sense that it could help me manage my mood better.
it totally can. Pranayama is like having this amazing tool to directly change how you feel.
That's pretty awesome.
It really is. It's like a secret weapon for calming down and finding some peace.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about mindfulness and this pranayama breathing.
Mhm.
But what about the physical part of yoga?
Yeah.
All those poses, they can be a real workout.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Does the article say anything about how that helps our mental health?
It does. So when you move your body in yoga, you release endorphins.
Oh, those are the feel-good hormones, right?
Exactly, the feel-good hormone. So it's like a double whammy. You get a workout and a mood boost.
That's amazing, like a 2-for-1 deal.
Exactly. And it goes deeper than that, too. It's the combination of getting stronger and more flexible
Right.
while also being mindful
Yeah.
that creates this like synergy that
Yeah.
really benefits both your body and your mind.
Wow. It really is a whole system for well-being.
It really is. Like the article says, a holistic approach.
Yeah, exactly. And there's more, right?
The article goes on to talk about self-discovery.
Ooh, self-discovery. Tell me more about that.
So yoga gives you this space to look inward
Okay.
as you do the poses and connect with your breath.
Yeah.
You naturally start paying attention to what's going on inside of you.
Huh?
You become more aware of your thoughts and feelings and sensations.
So it's like turning your attention away from all the distractions outside.
Yes, it's like turning your attention inwards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this process of self-discovery,
Mhm.
it can be really powerful.
Absolutely.
It can help you figure out like what's important to you, what your strengths are,
Uh-huh.
and where you might want to grow.
So it's like a journey of getting to know yourself better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the more you know yourself, the more authentically you can live your life, you know?
That's a really cool way to think about it. This is all making so much sense.
I'm glad.
But let's be honest, life isn't always about self-discovery and inner peace.
Right.
There are challenges. Things happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Does the article talk about how yoga can help us deal with the tough stuff?
It does. It talks about how yoga builds resilience.
Resilience. Okay.
Yeah, it gives you the tools to come back from hard times and face challenges with more strength and grace, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It feels like resilience is more important now than ever.
It really does.
With everything going on in the world, we all need ways to cope with stress and setbacks.
Absolutely. And yoga gives us those tools. It teaches us to breathe through tough situations.
Right.
To find strength within ourselves and to just have a more balanced view of things.
It sounds like yoga is more than just a set of exercises or a workout.
It is.
It's like a whole way of life.
You got it. It's about being aware, finding balance, and being resilient.
Yeah,
And those are qualities that can help you in every part of your life.
it really does, yeah. So
Yeah.
we've covered a lot, from stress reduction to self-discovery to building resilience. It seems like yoga has so much to offer for our mental well-being.
It really does. There's a lot there.
Maybe we should do like a quick recap for our listeners before we wrap up. Okay, so we learned that yoga takes this holistic approach, looking at the mind, body, and spirit all together.
Yeah, it's not just about the physical stuff.
Right, and that holistic approach is what makes it so effective for mental health.
Totally. It's about understanding that our thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations are all connected, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And we talked about how specific yoga poses, along with breathing exercises and mindfulness, can help us manage stress, anxiety, and even sleep better.
Exactly. And we even learned that some poses and breathing techniques can lower those pesky stress hormones like cortisol.
Right. And I loved learning about pranayama, the breathing practice. It's amazing how something as simple as breathing can have such a powerful impact on our emotions.
It's true. It's like having this built-in tool to regulate our mood.
That's a great way to put it. And of course, we can't forget about the physical benefits of yoga, which also contribute to our well-being. Getting those endorphins flowing can really boost our mood.
Yeah, It's a win-win. We get stronger and more flexible, and we feel happier, too.
It's incredible how interconnected our minds and bodies really are. And yoga seems like a fantastic way to tap into that connection.
I think so, too. It helps us become more aware of ourselves, more resilient, and more balanced.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who are feeling inspired after our deep dive today, what would you recommend they do next?
I'd say keep exploring. Do some research, maybe try a beginner yoga class and see how it feels for you. You might be surprised at how much it can improve your mental and emotional well-being.
That's great advice. You might even discover a new passion that brings more peace and joy into your life.
Exactly, you never know. Yoga is a gift that keeps on giving. The more you practice, the more you discover its transformative power.
Well said. On that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of yoga and mental well-being. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep learning.